something. So I built different characters for different reasons, so that if 7 different people read it, 7 different people can walk away with something different. They can connect with different characters. Different people will resonate, and they'll see themselves in different, you know what I mean, in different variations. So I'm not looking to convert someone who's not into reading what I wrote here, because as I said before, I'm a writer. I'm not just an author. So the next work that comes out is like, if I can't get you here, I might get you here. So you'll see versatility, and that's where being a writer comes in versus an author. I don't want you to put me here and say, okay, he did this, so the next time it comes out, I want it to be this. Similarly, a different type of story. Majority of the time with the urban novel thing, what happens is the next book that comes, we can almost guarantee it's an urban novel. Right? And usually it is, repeatedly. But how many times can we tell that story? With the exception of, obviously, the good brother 50 Cent. Keeping in mind, he's marketed countless drug stories to a network and selling them all simultaneously while in negotiations to sell more. And I love it and I respect it, but that's not me. I have so many other stories to tell. The next book that coming, I'm looking probably mid June, and then I'll go again in next December of 22. It's gonna be geared towards and also dedicated to abuse victims. There won't be a single use of any profanity. It's written in a specific manner, the setting entirely different. You wouldn't even think it's the same author. The next book after that will be self-help that I literally just finished up 2 days ago. So I'm going in different directions, and I'll get to different people for different reasons. If you don't take me for this is not for you, and that's fine. Here, I have something else. Here, I have this.
Multifaceted.
Any of the books? I have music. I have music coming your way. I'm doing beats. So, I'm going to market what I can do regardless. And I'm going to repackage myself, resell myself in one way or another.
Shah Montana, I know you got some questions.
Well, I actually known this brother good probably 15 years.
Yes.
Okay. In corporate America?
Yeah, we do know each other from corporate America. What's also funny is we used to bump into each other in the hood. You know what I'm saying? I have a question. I do have a question.
Yes.
All right. I'm recently not recently, but like within the past few months, I'm finding out you were an author. I've been knew you as a DJ. Not too long before I found out you was an author, I found out you was a producer.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? We already know about the film. You're trying to get into filmmaking. But it seems like you a brother that sets your minds to doing different things, and it seemed like you're gonna probably do a lot more stuff. You know what I mean?
The thing is, I'll be honest with you, Shah. I want to work harder at perfecting what I'm doing. In addition to, I want to motivate people to whatever it is that you want to do. It's not going to just happen. Get out there and do the work. I want people to understand it's hard, but it's not impossible, right? So I want to talk to people. I want to touch hands, and I want to exchange ideas, right? And I want to lend myself. I want to offer myself. I want to volunteer myself, right? So more people. Well, I want to look around a room of people who follow their dream with different stories to tell. I don't care what it is. If you decided, I want to make my own fitted hat company. Okay, so what's stopping you? How can I be of use to you?
Come on!
Yes. Is there a contact that I have? Is there a resource? How can you use me as a resource? If you can't be used, you're useless. And I don't take offense to that.
Purpose.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's what's up right there.
Mm-hmm.
What is your process when it comes to writing a book? Do you have an opening line in mind? Do you have an outline to a story? You kind of fill it in? And with that being said, what do you find is the hardest part of the process of writing a book?
It depends on the book. I'll give you an example. This Hard to Be King, what ended up happening was a friend of mine. He actually is incarcerated since 1999. He's one of the people that inspired. You know, a small incident occurred, I don't know, 94, 95. And we laughed about it one day. And he just was like, man, you know, I need your vision to bring something like that to life. And, you know, I told him, I said, I can do it, but we got to tell the whole story. We can't, he was, you know, we can't tell our whole stories. And we laughed. And that right there was enough to get Hard to Be King. Now, keep in mind, this was 2014. What I originally wrote, he didn't feel comfortable with, because he just felt like, yeah, if anybody read this, they know this is you and I. So it took me a while to revamp it in a way that it's set right with anyone that it could affect. So that was my process. Again, it took a long time, you know what I mean? I just finished up on a book that's more so designed for self-help. That was therapeutic. You know what I mean? I had to confront a lot of my shortcomings, a lot of my own demons, relationships with women, deficiencies that, you know, were never satisfied, to understand my own behavior. And I had to be extremely transparent and authentic about that. So that was my process for that. It took me a while, you know what I mean? Because some of the stuff we do, we don't really understand the magnitude until we look at it in writing, or we start talking to people about how it affected them. So literally, I had to dig through a lot of relationships that, you know, I may have damaged with a lot of different women, and say, listen, you know, quite a while ago, I did this to you. How did that make you feel? You know, let me be accountable for that. You know what I mean? I want you to understand that although it wasn't intentional and it was a long time ago, I understand now. I have an emotional IQ now. I didn't have that then, and I'm wrong. You know what I mean? So I had to turn over a lot of rocks to kind of create a healing process. And the objective with that is hopefully someone somewhere will connect and say, wait, this is me now. So before they have to turn over 13 rocks to start a healing process, you know, they'll grasp something sooner. Mm-hmm. Or it could be a woman that's connecting with it and say, wait a minute, this sounds like my guy. You know what I mean? And being able to understand him when he can't understand himself. A lot of men, young men, are versions of their mother who raised them without even knowing it. How we handle conflict resolution, mismanagement of emotion, the list just goes on and on. Right? But you never really get a chance to, we don't want to have those conversations because it's not cool, or we haven't, you know, yet found a safe space. So that was my process. You know what? Let me go ahead and be extremely transparent. I'm comfortable enough now. 7 years ago, I couldn't do that. 5 years ago, I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? But if somebody, regardless of whom you are and what you're doing, somebody's looking at you, they love you, and they respect you for who you are. So whoever that is, right? If you can touch that person, your job is done.
Facts. That's what's up, man. I always wanted to write a book. Maybe one day we will, but you know, it's just with me, it was, how do you start it off? Is it just like, you know what I mean? Like, does just a line come to your mind, or is it just kind of, I don't know. That was always my biggest thing.
See, I'm gonna be honest with you. Start it however you like, right? Because you're not gonna end up how you start off anyway. Once you start, the work will start doing itself. You know, you'll look at it. You know, you might come in a few days later and want to add something. You might go in a different direction. There were times where I got the final edit back. The second book that's coming, I got the final edit back. And I read through the final edit and changed the whole entire thing with the exception of the core premise. So it's a gruesome process, but it's worth it. When you see how people react to something that you create, it's worth it. So go ahead and get started, man. I'm officially available as your resource. Anybody that you need to be in contact with, any way that I can help, I'd only be offended if you didn't reach out. Whatever story you have to tell, someone needs it. Come on! It's selfish for you to hold on to it.
I like that.
And the GoodFellaz, we ain't selfish. Oh no, we lying.
Speak your mind.
Well, that's what's up. Okay, let's say you have an opportunity to write a screenplay or something tomorrow, brand new script or brand new movie idea. What character would Shah play in this movie?
I would.
That's a great
if I
question.
wrote something specifically with Shah in mind, I'll be honest with you. I tried to give him a platform to showcase his comfort in himself and his knowledge of vast things. I would want to bring that to screen to say, like, I view Shah as a worldly person, right? I would try to infringe on that for the world. Like, I want people to view him how I view him. You know what I mean? So I would kind of incorporate that into a character to make sure, hey, listen, this person stands on a lot of convictions, regardless, and not all the time popular things. But this is why we love Shah. He's not going to go with what's popular, right? I've seen Shah argue day in and day out that Project Pat was the best rapper alive.
We believe you. Trust me, we believe you. We believe you.
You don't have to agree with that, but the fact of how strategic he is, how passionate he is, it's like, you know what? I respect his presentation, and he brings that to each and everything that he does. So for me to create a character, oh yeah, we're gonna get the essence of Shah here.
Shah would definitely be the dude that says young blood at least once or twice in the movie. He's got to be that dude that, like, the young kid's about to do something or something, and they running like, yo, they running the Shah like, yo, Shah, what's good, man? Like, yo. And he'd be like, yo. He'd be the dude that drops some knowledge in the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, it's crazy
like
you said that because that's how I envisioned it. Like, you know what? I definitely would have Shah interacting on behalf of the youth. Hey, listen, let me show you something. Let me tell you something. You know, just dropping jewels in the way that he drops the jewels. That's exactly what came to mind, actually.
Hey, young Vatos Locos, you gotta understand.
Hey, yo,
this is where we come from, baby.
Be like,
Hey, come here, young blood.
That's the OG Shah over there, yo. That's the OG Shah. Let me go. I'm gonna go holler at him for a second. I'll get up with y'all later. All right, yo.
Yes. Sometimes we say, these kids don't listen, but that's not always the truth. Sometimes no one cares enough to tell them. Sometimes no one cares enough to stop and talk to them. So just seeing that right there, giving him an opportunity to say, listen, let me holler at you. I know what you're thinking, what you're doing, you think is the right way right here, right now, when you're 22. But let me speak to you from this side of the coin. You know what I mean? And just show people that no, we're interested in getting the message to kids. You know what I mean? So that's important.
Come on!
If you don't give kids, young men, young women, something to look at, something to admire, they find it themselves. And we don't always agree with what they find. That's why so many of us end up being statistics, right? Coming from circumstances like I'm familiar with, the first person that we see who's by virtue successful is a drug dealer, right? Because he's the first person that appears to be worry-free. He always has money. He appears to be living a lavish lifestyle, right? That's the first person. So our children, like it or not, sometimes aspire to be drug dealers because, you know, all the rest of these working people going to work, they don't seem happy. They don't seem to be having a good life. Like so on, like so forth. So, you know, to redirect that focus, that adoration to someone who's doing something positive, it takes a community.
Yeah, that's true, yo. Kids don't make the best decisions because we definitely made a couple trips to Avon back in the day. You know?
Yo, shout out to the 2 for 5s at Avon by the Chinese spot.
See what I'm saying?
Word. Memories. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
Yo, that's what's up. Yo, real quick, you're a writer. Are you also a reader? And if so, what's the best book you've ever read?
For me, the autobiography of Malcolm X. And the reason being is because I resonate with, it goes in line with a lot of what I believe. You know, ironically enough, I actually was just reading earlier that they exonerated the 2 gentlemen that were arrested for his murder. They were exonerated.
Yeah.
we got an opportunity to see someone self-educated become worldly powerful. Worldly powerful. We got a chance to see someone be not orthodox and be effective. Someone, a drug addict. So we gave life to a lot of different people in one person. A crook, a womanizer, a drug abuser, right? So coming from circumstances that a lot of us are familiar with, we can take our uncles, our fathers, our cousins, ourselves, right? And wrap them all up in one character. And then let's see where he goes. Okay, now let's talk education. Now let's talk empowerment. Now let's talk strength, resilience, love. You know what I mean? So that right there, that's the most powerful thing I've ever read, because we're showing a person be humane and change directions. And education, the importance of education. Like, you take away the education, you can take away the religion. And you'll get a different version of this man, but you take away the education, that's entirely different. So what we showcased in the end, in that particular book, what was showcased in the end versus what was glorified at the beginning is a big contrast. And I think that was I can read it over and over and over again. That's all of us to a certain extent, right? We're trying to evolve. We probably would have done better had we known better.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He truly had an amazing life story.
Yes. I definitely agree with that. I'd say close second is probably Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because I don't think Yes, I don't think financial literacy is enforced enough. Why in our schools are they teaching us to, not so much understand financial literacy, but you're grooming us to get a good job to make money. Okay, so now what do you do with money when you don't have financial literacy? Right? It's like the only thing you're really gonna do is pay back the loans. We don't care if you have a way, the know-how, the knowledge to keep money or to make money, generate money. No. Pay back that loan. Yeah. That's of most importance. So that was the first time I had exposure to something that spoke deeply about money. So that was powerful for me. Like, oh, okay, cool. Right? And then I read it the first time and I was like, I don't think I got it. I think I read it because it was trending. But I don't think I got it. I read the book probably like 4 or 5 times before, the light bulb started going off. Like, oh, wow. Okay. This is practical information. Some of the stuff we read is not practical. It's entertainment, just hard to be king. It's entertainment, right? That's another reason why it's important to me to give you something that's practical, that's useful for you. You're not going to walk away from that book learning anything. And it's cool that, I can entertain you, but if I can keep your attention, let me give you more than that.
Come on! If there was a story that you could retell with your own style, what story do you think you would make better with your penmanship?
I would say, I hate to do this, but the Malcolm X story, and the reason being, is because if you read the book and you watch the movie, and then I've read over 30 books from Malcolm X, and there's a slight variation between a lot of the different books. But the movie, I don't think we got through our heads that the movie truly was for entertainment purposes only. So I'm afraid that a lot of the people that love and adore and respect Malcolm X, they thought that they could learn something from the movie, when in fact the movie was misleading. In fact, I'll give you an example. Within the movie, I believe they gave you the impression that Brother Baines, a fellow prisoner, is who turned him on to Islam.
Brother Baines.
Right. In actuality, it was his brother, his own brother, who encouraged him to, give the Honorable Elijah Muhammad his ear, and, You know what I mean? That's dangerous to be retold in that manner.
Okay.
Right?
Choice.
In addition to that, you read one book and you get the impression that he was on the scene for quite a bit of time, right? But they don't really get into. I had to read about 5 or 6 different books before I got an understanding of what he was doing on the scene and with whom. For example, John Sanford, who we know as Red Fox, he was a very close friend of Malcolm X's at one time. You know what I mean? That's hardly mentioned. Billie Holiday, a lot. They're just in fact.
Well, in the movie Malcolm X, they did show that him and Red Fox were cool when he was a quote unquote busboy on the train, but they skimmed over that. But you're right, that was actually one of his influences early on. Right. When you read the book, you read about him and Red Fox really being boys. They really was really boys, like him and Bumpy. Bumpy was really boys. Yes. He had a lot of good relationships with influential people.
Yes.
Throughout history that the movie really didn't embellish. So I agree with you.
Like you said, you know what? They skimmed over it. But no, I want you to understand who was influential. For example, his movie did not highlight his relationship with Bumpy Johnson, right? At all. So what happens is, you get the impression Bumpy had to become trending before we listen, right? And then when he became trending, they said, oh yeah, just so you know, he was cool with Malcolm X too. But if you had studied Malcolm X properly, you would have already knew who Bumpy Johnson was, right? So like, for example, the first Bumpy Johnson movie was Hoodlum. I think Hoodlum was 1999.
Yes, sir. It was actually 1997, I believe. 97.
Okay, there we go.
97.
Right?
Hoodlum,
that was the first Bumpy Johnson movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at American Gangster.
Ooh, that's my man right there. I knew Mr. Lucas.
My man,
So
Mr. Lucas lived in Newark.
Because a lot of the times we don't get the story from people who are actually there. Sometimes, or they might tell it to someone in a certain manner, and some writer in some room could take it to some executive producer that says, okay, that's cool, but in order to market it, in order to sell it, we have to tell it like this. And the story
sensationalize it.
Right. So, to get the version that's not watered down, especially personally, it's an honor and a privilege.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to everybody tuned in right now. So what advice do you have for aspiring authors and people trying to get in the game? What advice would you give to them?
Start the work. It's not as hard as you think. Like, the ideas, the fact that you want to do this is a sign that it should be done. Whatever you have to say, someone needs to hear it, right? You may be what connects someone from the dark days to a better day, right? Just hearing someone connects with you, someone loves you, someone respects you. So your story coming out gives courage to God knows how many people. God knows how many people. We need that energy, right? It's enough room for every story to be told. I'll put it to you like this, to add to that, a person who should not be writing is not thinking about writing. If you have the idea, the notion to write something, it's because you should. The people that should be writing, they feel it. Even if it's a little hesitation, and that's my advice, my encouragement. Don't worry about that. Come on.
First of all, shout out to you, dropping jewels, dropping inspiration, dropping a lot of knowledge that a lot of people out here need to listen to, and hopefully you guys are listening to it. So let everybody know where they can reach you at online, social media, and once again, plug where they can get the new book and all that good stuff. Now's the time to let them know where they can reach you.
Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me amongst such a brotherly circle. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. I can be found on Facebook as Oso Avon, OSO AVON, and on Instagram at DJ_Oso_Avon. The book, anywhere that they sell books, with the exception of Walmart, it's online. It's Barnes Noble, Amazon, just about any book retailer. If you Google it, it'll come up actually.
That's what's up, man. And shout out to Walmart. Stop playing yourself. Get my man's book in your store. You feel me?
Yeah, y'all see my screen right here.
My God, appreciate you greatly.
That's what's up, man. So shout out to everybody tuned in right now. This is the Recap with the GoodFellaz Show.
Yeah.
My man Oso Avon in the building, chopping it up, breaking it down, the whole process of what it means to be an author. Make sure you get that book, Hard to Be a King, in stores, digital platforms, and all that as we speak. Yo, on behalf of all the GoodFellaz, we appreciate you. Much success to you in your future ventures. And like I said, when it's time for that GoodFellaz movie to get popping,
Word,
you
don't
already
forget
know
about me.
who's writing that screenplay.
Come on.
I appreciate you, Kings.
Definitely, man. Shout out to everybody tuned in right now. Make sure you check him on social media. Trust me, you'll be glad that you did. So on behalf of the GoodFellaz, it's about that time. We're about to write a story as we speak. And this story is peace.